see, I'm a resident of the non-named Boulevard Park, the small nexus of Seattle that's the most southern part. I guess I'm the only one representative here. So basically I'm here as a potential buyer of the land, prospectively. I'm here as a potential business in the sense of addressing everyone's concerns. I spent over the past week looking over the 109 comments that was made for this particular type of property, and all of the concerns addressed. And I believe that my business can address every single one of them, and I can tell you why. Unfortunately, I have a presentation, but we don't have the time, so I'll just let you know that I do have pamphlets that will basically give the same information that I will give you, but more pretty pictures. So basically, I represent my business, Arc Eden. We are a green cemetery that basically focuses on land stewardship. We do not look at land expansion, we look at vertical burials. So basically we take the cremated remains of people and we use incineration via water, not fire, in producing carbon monoxide. We don't produce any pollutant. The only pollutant that we will produce is non-potable water, which will go back into a watershed and recharge it. Not only that, it will provide a green space for children to have access to, as well as a green space for continued visitation. So basically, not only will this be great for the environment, but it will produce green jobs. Now, prospectively, we see that within the next 10 to 20 years, we're going to have an influx of baby boomers who will be right at the, yeah, we all know, I'm not going to remind you, but I will let you know that there will be a lot of you, and unfortunately, there's only going to be a third of the services provided for you during that time. And market says when there's less people that are providing those services and more of you, the cost is going to go up. So as Arc Eden, we are going to be there to not only provide a complex way that represents your complex life, but a way that represents the lifestyle as well as the benefit for the environment as well as the children that are going to be left behind. So we do not believe in the fact that we should further pollute the environment, but we should make it better than what we first arrived here on the earth. So if you have any questions, please see me. I'm in blue. I have business cards and pamphlets to further let you know, but that's here. So I'm speaking from in between the buyer side as well as the environmental side as the go-between. So thank you.
Once again, we probably have 4 minutes for one other speaker if they want to take this time.
I can make it 2.
There you go.
First of all, I want to apologize. I've had a bit of stage fright. I don't do this a lot. North Highline Unincorporated Area Committee was one of the folks that wasn't asked to speak, so I've essentially done something in the back of a napkin, and I'm going to speak really fast. So, in the build-up to this meeting, there was a quote: "We should make decisions here based not on the good of each neighborhood, but of Seattle as a whole." I agree. And I've been thinking about some other neighborhoods that I'm sure would be happy to make a contribution. For instance, Volunteer Park. That water tower is doing no one no good. The Arboretum. That land is just lying fallow, waiting for just the right warehouse. Anderson Park. Think of all the parking spaces that could be sited in there without that wasteful green area.
Right.
In each of these cases, Seattle has weighed the value of green space versus the value of commercial development. In each case, green space won. What's the difference? What's the difference between our neighborhood and these neighborhoods? Why is green space important there but not here? Follow the money. We are not powerful. We are not loud. We are the working poor, the proud middle class. But in the past, urban planning pioneers and visionaries like Frederick Law Olmsted have made it a priority to site green spaces in underserved neighborhoods. I asked the City of Seattle to support that process, to think of the overall well-being of Seattle as including us. Thank you.
And I think the City of
Seattle and the people of Seattle thank everybody who's made their comments and asked their questions. So a round of applause for everybody, please. All right, now is the time for question and answers. So for the people who were speaking earlier, if you have a question, unfortunately we only have one microphone. So yell it loud, yell it proud, and then we'll have the speaker or speakers that you wanted to hear come up to the podium and ask the question. Is that fair? Yep. All right. I saw this hand over here in blue, then I see a hand in white, so we'll go in that order. Yes, ma'am.
Alan Robertson, when you stood up and identified yourself, you did not tell us what NIA stands for.
You know, I don't even know what it necessarily stands for.
Well,
It's
you
Peace
didn't
Out
tell who you
Property.
represent.
It's an association, but
Okay.
you can probably look it up and figure it out. I don't know. I've only been there for 1 year. I've been doing this for 30 years. So, no, it's just, it is a real estate, it is a real estate
developer?
No, I'm
All
not.
right, well, everybody, a couple of ground rules here. Whether he knows what NAI stands for or not,
It's North
he answers the
American
question.
Industrial or something like that. I don't know exactly what it stands for.
Well, would you like to come up here, Alan,
Sure,
and use the microphone? And thank you for that question.
I am a real estate consultant, and I am a real estate consultant, and NAI is North American Industrial or something of that nature, and then it's Peace Out Properties. It's an affiliation. It has nothing to do with me particular, other than the fact that that's where I go to work.
Oh, okay.
Anyone, while I'm here, does anyone else have any other questions? I can address the one question somebody said that sending the water was not appropriate going to the wetland. There's two different types of waters that come off an industrial site. There's the roof water that comes off the site that is as clean as day, and that would be directed to the wetlands to recharge the wetlands. Did everybody hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then relevant to this, the actual stormwater that comes off of the pavement, it goes through a treatment process that is required per code before it's discharged to the stormwater system. And nothing that would be built on that site, including for the joint training facility, would be built to the same standards, to the same codes. And just to kind of clarify things, we're talking about a portion of the site. This isn't an all or nothing scenario. That's what's unique about this, is roughly 60% of the total site should be and would be utilized for the majority of the purposes that everybody wants it to be utilized for. And that's the benefit. So it's not a all lose, all win scenario. Anyhow, pick it.
How about parking
Parking, well, parking for,
these industrial,
that's all part and parcel to the 17 and a half acres. It'd all be on that particular site. There wouldn't be any infringement on the balance of the property. So you have the utility easement, and then you also have the area just to the south and southwest of that, then you have the area to the east.
Do you live near light manufacturing or a warehouse? Is that next door to you?
I live in probably one of the noisiest places here in Seattle. I live right now about a half a block away from the BN yard in between Magnolia and Queen Anne, and it's loud and the house shakes. So yes, I do know what it is to live by an industrial area.
Do you like living near an industrial area?
You know, you actually kind of get used to it, but you know, it's no different than the people who live down in Georgetown. They enjoy living in the environment that they live in. You know, you make the best out of the situation where you are. And secondly, what's unique about this is that it is already buffered due to elevation change, and it is buffered to the residential areas to the south and to the west. So I mean, it's zoned that way for a reason. But anyhow. Okay, there you go.
And everybody, just a couple of house rules here. We have a half hour, so we can't ask multiple questions, okay? If you have questions and you don't get a chance to ask them, put them on the comment cards and the question cards. Everything will be put online as quickly as possible. And there's a young lady in white with glasses who was second to raise her hand.
Yeah, first of all, I am Cole Eckerman, the Executive Director
or an opportunity cost. Our initial recommendation related to the historical direction of the council. They have over $6 million that they borrowed against the land. The bulk of that money relates to the homeless program that they funded. And so they have a goal to get that money back. That can be accomplished by selling the commercial area that Al Robertson was talking about. That's where the bulk of the value is, and still save over 20 acres of trees. That cost benefits analysis is something that could be done after we come back with more feedback.
All right, there's a young lady in the middle of the room with her left hand up in the air. Yes.
My name is Christina Gallegos. I'm a resident of Top Hat. I've lived here for 10 years. I'm a retired employee from the city of Seattle. I used to work for the Seattle Parks Department as a volunteer coordinator and a naturalistic camp along East River Park. My question is directed to John Ovid from SPU. And can you tell us what your job responsibility is with SPU?
I am a facilities strategic planner working in the facilities division. I am basically here representing SPU's interest in just the training facility itself, nothing else.
Not in the drainage or the wetlands or the water that runs off of Greenbridge down into the Duwamish. That's not your responsibility?
No, only the use of this facility for our staff for training and excavation.
Whose responsibility is it when the water runs off of the upper hill into what used to be Ham Creek and goes into the Duwamish River, which we all know is a Superfund polluted site? Whose responsibility is that?
I don't know offhand. I don't know if it's something connected to our utility or something connected to parks or...
Ma'am, I think I have to stop and answer one question. I'm sorry, because there are other people that have questions. I'm very sympathetic, ma'am, but we have other people who have other questions, and we do have to move on. I'm sorry.
No one was listening to the wetland.
Okay, everybody, is there another question? We do have to move on to be fair. Sir.
It came about in the dark, and it affects every one of us who live in this neighborhood.
Ma'am, we respect your wishes, but we have to go on now.
Hi, I'm Mark Westerman. I'm with the Seattle Green Spaces Coalition. This is my circus voice, MC voice. At the end of November, the City Council unanimously approved a statement of legislative intent directing FAS to come up with a scope of work to do a complete green infrastructure analysis of the city. That is to value the natural capital of the city, price it, and roll it into the city's asset portfolio to make the city worth up to $1 billion or $1.5 billion extra dollars a year. The due date for delivering that scope is today. I'm curious about where the FAS is in delivering that scope.
The scope of the response to the SLI, or Statement of Legislative Intent, that the City Council sent to FAS was due today. It was submitted today to the City Council late in the afternoon, and as of tomorrow morning, I'm sure we'll be able to share it with you.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is also for FAS. My name is Willow Fulton. I'm one of the few residents that lives close enough to have received the notice for this meeting in the Top Hat area. And my question is about what is the plan for managing this property until somebody decides something to do with it? Because the property that your department owns has some current issues that are very concerning for people that live close by it and would like to walk past it to get to the bus, for instance, but don't feel safe in doing so.
We understand your concerns. I'll give it a try, and if Mike Ashbrook wants to chime in, item 2. We do have a person whose job it is to come to the site at least weekly, if not more. They work very closely with one particular police officer and try to keep the homeless element, homeless folks under control. We know there are issues. It's a tough situation because if we direct them off of our property, they move over to state of Washington property. They come down and they move on back to ours. We put up fences and they'll cut through them. So there are tough issues, and overall, I think the city stepped up trying to be more responsive, but we understand that it's a tough situation.
So is there a plan? That's the question. What is the plan for managing it?
Mike?
As Hillary said, it's kind of a complex issue, as we're FAS, and part of FAS, we're a department within the city. So we work within the city's coordinated effort for dealing with encampments and other, people that are sleeping in unsheltered areas. So our response is coordinating with them. So as you know, there's encampments throughout the city that the city is trying to work up and try to do. So in response to that, we are on a list of priorities that we go through and clean up. And so with Myers Way, like Hillary said, we have a person that we've dedicated that goes out weekly to monitor the site. They try to, if they see a hole or a break in the fence, repair the fence. About 2 years ago, we installed that fence. It doesn't get done as quick as it can be because there are so many areas in the area that have priority over this site. Now, we're continuing to work with it and we'll continue to do it. And that's one of the struggles we have with having such a large vacant area.
All right, is there Fred Miller in the house?
Yes.
Okay, Fred?
Yeah, I've been a resident here for over 30 years. And during a recent tour with the news network, one of our neighbors was told by the Seattle police that a lot of the homeless were directed here. Now, one of the things that I'm thinking about with making this into a park, I don't exactly trust the stewardship of the city of Seattle because they tend to push their problems to the outlying areas. It's one of the reasons why Seattle had a hard time getting annexation to the town from us. So it's something to think about, and any efforts to make this into a park needs to really be thought out well and encourage security along with the package.
Right in the front, sir, with the hat and the glasses.
So I just wanted to put this issue in context with the city's comprehensive plan draft that's currently under consideration by the city council. So about 5 years ago, the city council revised the comp plan. And at that time, the comp plan said that the city will have an increase in open space of 1% per year. And they decided that that was not achievable and not measurable since 1% of the total city acreage is not able to be measured very accurately. So they changed it to there will be no net loss of tree canopy area. So I saw you, Hillary, on TV. You said that you're going to have some environmental values, and I just don't see where a clear cut is environmental values. So that was kind of a weak point in your TV interview the other day. But the Parks Department has recently said in May that the big leaf maple trees are dying, and I don't agree with that. The real estate person here said that this project won't adversely affect the waterways, and I don't believe that because they said the same exact thing before you got the $4 million fine for affecting the waterways. So why should we believe you now?
Let me deal with the tree question first. I think if you have the map that we published and had available, and it's on the website if you didn't get one, the color map, most of them are colored. The large area in blue to the east of Myers Way and the area to the south of our property, on our property, south of the city light transmission line, are where the bulk of the tree canopy is. And we're proposing that those be preserved as open space. It could be through a land trust, it could be through the park department. They are ready and willing to take the land, the 23 acres or so, if that's what the city wants to do. But that is the recommendation at this point in time, is to save the tree canopy in, pretty much in perpetuity through the stewardship. I am not a water expert. We know that mistakes were made. We know there were fines. The city did create a new wetland along the Duwamish that's fairly substantial. We have a firm on board to take care of the wetland that's located pretty close to this building. I can understand that there might be some concern about trust. We have had our wetlands on the vacant land studied. We have shared that with the Army Corps of Engineers, and they have told us which wetlands they are especially interested in, and they have told us that the other ones will be the responsibility of the city planning department or permitting department as any proposal comes to bear. Lady in the black, and then the gentleman standing up.
Just two quick comments and then a question. One, I'm from Queen Anne, and I want everybody to know that the retention of this property is of interest to the entire city. And secondly, if any of you want to contact the council and feel overwhelmed by this, use one email address, council@seattle.gov. That's all you need. Council@seattle.gov. It'll go to all council members. But my question is, what exactly are the future opportunities for public participation? What is the plan for this? What are the upcoming meetings? How can we stay involved? What do you have planned before the city council public hearing?
Our goal over the next month or so is to try to meet with a number of small community groups and organizations. If you would like us to come to your community group, please let us know. We'll do our best to find a time that works for you and us. I think what we'll do now is we encourage you again, fill out comment cards. Please let us know what you feel, what you're concerned about. And if we need to set up another large public meeting, we can certainly do that. I think the whole conversation about community visioning is something that we can share. Carrie Wade is here, as you know, from the Department of Neighborhoods, and I think they'll have a lot of good ideas about a strategy moving forward.
Will you notify everybody that signed in tonight?
If you signed in and we have a way to reach you, preferably email, we will contact you. How about the lady in the blue here? And then, oh, sorry, I forgot this gentleman here. Can you go first, please? Matt.
So my first question has to do with the fact that why is the city of Seattle prioritizing industrial development over housing development and programs that would help permanently eliminate homelessness problems by literally taking them off the streets? Why wouldn't we develop government-owned housing? And with a one-time sale becomes an overtime investment on pulling these people off the streets and giving them a place to stay, giving them a place to sleep other than on the streets, letting people walk by and not feel threatened by that. And then also, that contributes to the community because you are lifting these people up. You're no longer just leaving them to be there on the street or marginalizing them and pushing them out of the city. You're including them, and it makes them feel like part of the city. So why is industrial prioritized over the people?
I think that's a really good question. It's probably about the first time that affordable housing has come up tonight, so thank you for that. One of the things that we did early on was we went to different city departments and we asked them if they could potentially use the property because the city has a lot of missions to accomplish. Our Office of Housing looked really carefully at this piece of property. One of the issues on this property is that it's a lot of acreage. If you just, for example, took the center of the site that's flat and the most suitable for some kind of development so that you stayed away from the trees, you might have 13 acres, but there are no streets in the middle, there is no sewer or drainage, there's no power service, so that developing housing, regular market rate housing would be a little more expensive than usual, and if your goal is to build affordable housing, then you're starting kind of in a hole because you have to do all this extra work that you might not normally have to build. So our housing people did take a really careful look at it. Some of the other issues that they looked at had to deal with access to services and transportation. So it was not their priority site, but they did take it very seriously. So thanks for letting me address that. So let's go to this woman here. I'm sorry, but I had to put him in the queue. So you're next.
Okay, going back to the water drainage issue, when you had them look at this site, did everybody here, did they take into account the fact that up on the plateau where you have Greenbridge, when they build the rest of Greenbridge, it's all going to become hard surface. And so where's the water going to perk through? And the site has this tremendous amount of sand, which erodes very easily, and I would feel better if there had been someone looking at things comprehensively to see what is happening in different areas rather than just right here. The fact it's going to change because of what's happening uphill. And so, and I think the concerns about Ham Creek and fulfilling the mission to restore the Duwamish needs to be taken into account. And like this other gentleman, the fact that issues regarding wetlands were kind of ignored and kind of not given a priority before makes us wonder.
I can understand that. I will let you know that it was in this very room some years ago after the Army Corps of Engineers reached a settlement with the city that I don't know how many scores of people, myself included, were here for a full day of training about jurisdictional waters, wetlands, and how it needed to be done. So a lot of people were trained then, and there is a standing committee that meets with the Army Corps of Engineers, and projects have to be reviewed by them as they go forward. And any development, whether it's expanding the firefighter facilities or building green jobs or a green environmental facility or a commercial property will have to get permitting and they'll have to be reviewed. There was a woman here, yes.
I was actually last meeting, we were talking about the city was going to decide whether there could be housing in some, was that the blue areas that they?
No, the blue areas are the areas with tree canopy that we're proposing be preserved. I think there should be some very small print that probably says so, but the blue areas are the areas to be saved. The housing is not currently in the proposal, as I just explained. It's expensive to do, and we already owe ourselves money.
And I think that we already have a lot of affordable housing and not very many tax dollars in it. So it doesn't necessarily mean we need the commercial development, as I think. But one last question, when we went in the other day to the woods in this green, blue spot here, there's a permanent structure built by a gentleman that lives in there, it's called the Grotto. And we wonder what's going to happen with that. It's basically a water feature that's quite large. And someone's backyard with rockery. We're just
Yeah.
wondering, is that going to continue? Is it going to stay there? What's going to happen with that?
Very fair question. I do not have the magic answer to what happens with the grotto, but it's certainly on everybody's radar, and it's going to have to get figured out. I don't know who is next, but I see you already had a question. Let me try to get some others. Okay, Cass?
You said that the city recommends that the steep wooded areas be kept natural. I thought that was already a requirement because they're environmentally critical areas. So it sounds like the city's taking credit for something they couldn't do anything else with anyway.
Is that a comment or a question?
Well, is that correct? Are they buildable areas?
I can't answer that exactly. I am not a development expert.
Some of it is
Yeah, I
developed,
mean,
yes.
you do have the,
The wooded areas?
yeah, on the wooded areas, on the south side of the property, that's on the other side of, well, no, the right of way. You have, I think, about 2 acres of developable land that has, that definitely has a value. Then on the other side of the street, kind of by the power lines going down the hill, there's a developable site that could be used and utilized too.
So the woods are developable?
Partial. Not all, but part of them are.
In the interest of Peggy in the yellow with the green scarf, and then the lady in purple.
So, at the end of Mary's presentation, she asked, so how many people do you need to hear from? And one of my questions about the public involvement, it cited, it broke down, who they've heard from by January 15th. There were 2 responses, there's 6 people wanted to be kept informed, 3 people, and the majority expressed the desire to preserve all the parks and parkland. But why wasn't it said that there were over, like in our case, we have 1,659 people who said that they don't want it to be stopped. So one of the questions that came up here is, what's happening to those comments? She referred to 109. We have 561 comments that we've been passing on. How many comments are you looking for? Like if we get 1 million people to get attention?
I think in the early reports that there was a petition, but I'm not sure that it came to our department. I can't say what date it was. Daniel, can you speak up loudly and address that?
All of the comments that were given toward the petition were included in the comments list that's online. If you looked at, we get a cutoff date for the comments to report. We're still collecting comments now. So any comments that come from here or coming in past, we will be putting on a new summary of all comments. So the online petition, only some of those had email addresses and actually comments. So I was like 659, I think we only got like 300 actually email addresses.
I said the women in purple.
My question and statement is, I'm wondering when you're looking at the viability and feasibility of housing, are you looking at it in a traditional sense? We have a global crisis of global warming and a serious issue of our carbon emissions and needing to sequester more carbon and needing to look at solutions that aren't necessarily what have been done before. And there's places all over the world that are coming up with incredibly innovative solutions. I think in Denmark, they're building eco-villages where they have housing that are sustainable, that produces its own energy, wind, solar, water management. There's a gray water, different solutions that can be taken into account. Are you guys trying to be innovative and to address these multiple issues, which could have huge economic gains and environmental responsibility? And then also thinking about, there are lawsuits and different things going on, new ecology rules coming out, being developed, that are starting to look at the science of global warming and how we need to be environmentally responsible. And it seems like we need to be ahead of the curve and not being, now the rules made, now we're going to do something about it. You're looking at a project, are you looking ahead and taking that into consideration and trying to be a leader in that and look for new innovative ways to address all of those problems, which would be responsible for our children, our environment, our area, everything. What are you guys looking at that, or are you just looking at, traditionally it's not useful?
I don't think we have anybody here from the Office of Housing, and I'm not an expert on all of their different programs. Those are probably some new ideas for them. So I would encourage you to write your comments down. I think those are really valid ideas that ought to be encouraged. So please send the city council, send us your comments, and we'll make sure they get into the record and our goal now is to bring all the different kinds of ideas that we heard to the mayor's direct staff and get some ideas from them on possibly revising the recommendations. So do send us something. I guess we have time for 2 more questions, so I'll go to the lady in blue, because I don't think we've heard from Arrowhead Gardens yet.
I just have a question. I kind of want to rephrase what she asked in this way. How many voices do you have to listen to before we are heard in number?
There isn't a magic number. We want to hear
There
from
has to be a magic number.
we want to hear from everybody who cares about it. And we will, so we're doing 2 things. First of all, we will be summarizing the comments in a report, but we also are keeping a list that has all of the substantive. If you write us 3 paragraphs, we're going to put, am I right, Daniel? We're putting that all online, so the record's there.
What I'm asking.
There is no magic number.
At what point does our voice have an impact? Because what you're telling us right now, we can just comment until, the cows come home, and you're going to just put it out there for somebody else to read. At what point do our voices have an impact on what you're going to do?
Thank you.
It's ultimately the council that has to make a decision. As you have been, you can write to them. There will be other opportunities. I would just encourage you to keep commenting. We'll take it back to the electeds. They'll help come up with a plan to move forward. I mean, I think you've been heard tonight. I've got time for one more question. The lady in green had asked a question.
This was kind of touched on earlier today. There's a large portion of our neighbors that don't seem to be represented. This was touched on earlier. There's a large portion of our neighbors that don't seem to be represented in this meeting. We have translators here that don't seem to be doing any work, and there's a lot of people in the neighborhood that don't speak English as their first language. And I'm wondering what we're doing to try to reach out to them so that they get a chance to come to meetings like this too, or to know about it.
Daniel, can you feel that one?
We will keep doing some additional outreach to neighborhoods and working with our translators to help us reach those communities. We didn't go into this meeting here, we will do some more additional outreach.
So we can expect more meetings where more people can attend that actually live in the neighborhood?
We will try this out, working with people who know the people in the neighborhood, of other languages, and work with them to try to figure out how to.
Can you speak up? Daniel, speak up. Louder.
Daniel said that we would continue to do outreach. If you saw our public involvement plan, we did list a number of community groups. We have met with a couple already. We did talk with some great White Center staff and let them know that we could meet with, different kinds of public events. We could attend a festival. We could do a business mixer with them. So we are here to reach out. And if your group wants to hear from us, talk with us, let us know, please. I think we're pretty much at the end of the meeting. If you have a question, we probably will be around a little bit and could chat with you. And do fill out a comment card. You can leave it in the back of the room and in the middle of envelopes. You can hand it to us. You can scan it in email or mail it to us directly. Thank you.